You're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is the Morning Buzz. I'm your host, Jake Goetz, here with an incredible cast and crew in the studio. We have Aidan Ivers.
Good morning.
Emo McCormack.
Hi.
Elizabeth Godoy.
Hello.
And George Kaliash.
Calasia, but I
Calasia,
I appreciate the effort. George Calasia, sportscaster here. What's up?
Yeah, nothing much. This is the Morning Buzz. How are you all? How are you all today?
I exist. I'm alive. Right direction, I suppose.
Yeah, right. That's a good start. Like that's like the starting point. And I think where we're gonna go from there is a newscast. If we have it. Wow, I pointed to Aidan for the newscast because I'm so used to Aidan being the king of newscast.
I'm not Aidan, I'm Lizbeth, and this is WMSC News. In top news, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake strikes in Turkey and Syria, killing over 5,000 people and injuring thousands more. The devastating event caused the collapse of hundreds of buildings, and the inclement weather events happening across the countries continue to hinder search efforts. Dozens of other countries are rushing to provide aid for those impacted. In national news, President Biden is expected to take a trip to Poland at the end of February for the anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. However, there is no word from the White House officially confirming the event. In international news, another natural disaster occurring in Peru due to heavy and continuous rainfall. A landslide caused by the extreme weather struck and has left 8 people dead, 5 missing, and several other injured in the town of Secocha. And now for weather. It is currently 26 degrees and mostly cloudy. We have less nippy weather today with a high of 43 degrees and a low of 37 degrees with 5 to 10 mile per hour winds. The sun will be occasionally peeking out of the clouds for the early hours of the day, transitioning to fully cloudy for the remainder of the day. For WMSC News, I'm Lizbeth. Back to you, Jake.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Can we get that newscast from George? Oh my gosh, it's not a newscast, it's a sportscast. Sorry.
All right, here we go. We'll start off local. No, I'm just kidding. We're not gonna start off with local news. We're gonna start off with the NFL. This Sunday, Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles face off in the big game to bring the 2022-2023 NFL season to a close. That game will begin at 6:30 on Sunday. In NFL news, Cincinnati Bengals legendary wide receiver A.J. Green retired from the NFL after 12 seasons. He finishes his career with 727 receptions, 10,514 yards, and 70 touchdowns. For the NBA tonight, the Los Angeles Lakers will face off against the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron James is 36 points away from the NBA's all-time scoring mark. All eyes will definitely be on LeBron tonight. In NHL, the New Jersey Devils defeated the Vancouver Canucks last night 5-4 in overtime. The Devils improved to 33-13-4 on the season. This has been George Calasia with your WMSC Sportscast.
Thank you, George. And with that, we're going to hop into hour 1 of the Morning Buzz and all our hard news stories for the day. Starting off with the potential debt ceiling standoff looming large over the State of the Union. This morning, according to ABC News, the federal debt of the U.S. might be rising. President Joe Biden delivers his State of the Union address tonight with new House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The management of how to increase the borrowing limit is shaping up to be the first major obstacle that McCarthy and Biden must work together to overcome. Biden and McCarthy agree that the nation cannot default on its debt, but with the Treasury already using extraordinary measures to keep the United States out of the red, that's about all they can agree on. Any comments on this? Any thoughts?
I mean, I'll tell you, Jake, when it comes to looking at current events, economics is not really my strong suit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no. It is a tough thing to follow. It's like, I feel like, and I think a lot of that is to a degree almost weirdly intentional. Like, I think I don't know, some of the terminology around it, and the sort of mechanics of it can be very confusing. And it's like, I don't know.
And we've kind of been hearing for years now how like the United States is in trillions of dollars of debt
Yeah.
already. So it is really interesting though to think about how President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy have to, put their heads together regardless of how they identify politically to make sure this doesn't get out of hand too fast.
Right. Yeah. And it will be interesting to see like how that collaboration process will actually look, because they need to do something. It's going to look bad for both of them if it's just the same, deliberations ultimately leading nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, who budges, who won't.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to predict and it's hard to say much else about it. So Eden, why don't we move on to the next story?
Of course, Jake. It's a bird. It's a plane. Nope. It's a balloon. Given the hullabaloo over the Chinese surveillance balloon, you'd think something like this never happened before. But it has at least 4 times in recent years, according to U.S. officials and NPR. Chinese balloons crossed over the U.S. at least 3 times during the Trump administration and at least one other time earlier in the Biden administration. According to Air Force General Glenn Van Herk, the U.S. was not aware of the Chinese incursions at the time. And this is another one of the major stories that we've been hearing about this week
Yeah, no,
regarding current events with this.
I have to say, seeing that balloon get shot down was pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like,
It's interesting to think how it's like there's a lot of talk as we just read
mhm,
about, like how long has this been here for,
Right.
right? And
and what did it see?
yeah, and we learned that Saturday it got shot down, ordered by President Joe Biden, and I'm pretty sure it landed in the ocean off
Yeah,
of
no,
North
it sounded
Carolina.
like they made sure that it was, over water, so it had no risk, because it was pretty
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, and that kind of relates to how they didn't really want to risk it destroying anything, I guess,
Yeah, and it
as it
hitting
fell,
anything, and especially like if like the actual balloon part of it like landed on cars,
or
that
like
could
the
be
metal,
bad,
like
right?
the satellite part. We saw
Yeah.
like a
Absolutely.
yeah, but I think it's and when I see the story, it's kind of I kind of say this like a reality show, because at first China was like, "Don't worry, guys, this isn't anything threatening. It's only for civility and research purposes."
Mhm.
And then the United States shut it down, and then China was like, "Come on."
Yeah, it's actually that was something that I found super interesting, is how like strongly they responded to
Yeah.
that, and
Mhm.
it's like, dude.
Now China says, "All right, that was really uncalled for, guys, and we reserve the right to respond." So in that what context that means, we don't know.
Yeah, no, kind of an ominous statement.
It's not fun to think about, Jake. It's
But
yes.
that is interesting to hear that this is not the first time that this has happened. And
Yeah.
especially it's interesting to hear that this has happened under the Trump administration, which, Donald Trump kind of talked about this in a way. I feel like it's pretty redundant at this point to talk about, like, I don't know, the kind of Trumpist idiosyncrasies. But hearing that this happened under his administration is I don't know, it's good public knowledge to have.
Yeah, it's just gonna be really it's gonna be really interesting story to follow, like in the coming weeks and months regarding this. How, I mean, I don't really want to find out how China's gonna respond, like reserve their rights for that, but we're gonna probably find out one way or another.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll move into the next story for now. New York City to end COVID vaccine mandate for city workers. Mayor Eric Adam announced New York City workers will no longer need to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 to be employed by the city. The mayor said that the vaccine mandate for city employees will end this Friday during a vote by the city's Department of Health. Adam said 96 of the city's workforce have received both shots, so the mandate for the current and prospective employees served its purpose. Yeah. Thoughts? Do we think
Yeah.
this is a good idea? Do you think
I mean, I think it's kind of reflective of what we reported a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
and saying I think it was either like last week maybe or sometime in the past where President Joe Biden said in May he's going to end the emergency context regarding COVID pandemic, and I think this falls into the same umbrella as that
Yeah.
because um, we're not at a point where like vaccines aren't available. They are available
Mhm.
in large portions at many places around our communities,
Right.
and it's good that I think the story says that 96% of the workforce is vaccinated for COVID, right? And there was some, I mean, there was some pushback with that, especially in my hometown of Staten Island,
Really.
around I want to say October of 21. The sanitation department of New York protested against this in that they didn't pick up people's trash for about a week. People's garbage were piling up outside their houses, and
And is protesting against lifting the vaccine mandates.
yeah, they didn't want to get vaccinated, I guess. And
Oh, they didn't want to.
no,
So
no, no,
it's
no, no.
a protest against the
Yeah,
vaccine mandate
yeah, yeah,
itself.
yeah.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is that during that time, um, there's like a portion of Staten Island that's like property of like the sanitation. That's like the sanitation,
Yeah.
site, and people went there and they protested for the sanitation workers by blocking the entrances for the trucks to pick up the garbage. I guess. I mean, I'm not sure how. That was kind of these
Mhm.
people are saying let these people work without getting vaccinated, but they also blocked the trucks from actually picking up people's trash for a little bit. After that, though, it was like they moved away and it was settled. But there was like I want to reiterate like there was a lot of pushback, especially in my
Yeah.
community of Staten Island.
No, it makes sense, especially like
Yeah,
I understand if you have like views at odds with the mandate. I'm just wondering the effect this will have on the actual of course the amount of cases, the amount
yeah,
the impact. And I think that even though I think it's definitely the position that COVID has in our lives is definitely changing.
hmm
It's still like out there, right? Like I had to get a
sure,
COVID test like last week.
yeah,
Um, like I don't know. So yeah,
yeah. I mean,
it's
that's
tough to speak on like the immediate consequences of this because I don't even think numbers are being reported on as much.
yeah, but I think for the people who haven't gotten vaccinated for one reason or another,
Mhm.
I think it'll like ease them a little bit because they don't have to worry about oh, should I get vaccinated
Yeah,
sometime or can I get vaccinated depending on my medical condition? So in that regard, like that, I guess that'll make a difference, and
yeah,
that people who haven't gotten the vaccine don't have to worry about, I guess, doing it because uh, one of my old friends who goes to St. John's, he didn't get vaccinated, but he had to get tested twice a week for
mm,
COVID. So whether that's going to change regarding this, we don't know. We're going to see, but
yeah. I'm sure that will probably vary, like you know, case to case and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna jump into a quick break before we get into the rest of our stories. I'm gonna throw it to David Bowie, Station
Hmm.
Station.
Okay.
or if I'm just ignorant as to David Bowie's discography. I'm just very confused. But to get grounded, we're gonna jump back into hour one of our heart. Thousands of temp workers in New Jersey will get new rights under law Murphy just signed. Temporary workers in New Jersey will soon receive sweeping new protections and rights under a law. Okay, supporters will say the Temp Workers Bill of Rights is the first kind in the U.S. and will benefit more than 127,000 essential temp workers in the Garden State. The legislation takes effect in 90 days. It will give temp workers in New Jersey the right to basic information in English and their native language about where they will be working, the pay rate, their schedule, and what kind of work they will be doing, and how much sick time they can get. I'll just say that I think that like laws like this, honestly, it's kind of wild, like, because it's like cool that this is being implemented, but it's like, wait, was that not always a thing?
Yeah,
You know,
right. And why is it
was
taking
that-
90 days to implement?
right?
Start up.
Yeah, like was this not always like available? I guess like I could see a lot of these decisions being kind of left up to, individual companies to be
Mhm.
like, all right, yeah, tell them what you want. But like, I don't know. I think this information with any employee, regardless of how long they're being employed, is like pretty essential.
Yeah, but going off of what you said, Jake, it's good in case these people are maybe not from the United States or their families are not from the United States, and that like their English is not their first language, and to have those resources provided to them about how to learn it and how they bind together, in their work lives. I think that's really important for them, so like they can manage their stressful work if it's stressful, like work lives and home lives together if they have families, and make sure that it's like the law to make sure that their like basic stuff is protected, like their
Yeah.
rights and their resources.
Yeah, absolutely. So much
Yeah.
of freedom has to do with freedom of information. So you have like, the ability to actually make choices about your life.
Yeah, and and it depends on what kind of work they're doing too, as the story read. So again, it's really interesting to think about how this kind of thing. I don't, again, like 90 days though. Why have to wait until what, like
Right?
May?
Just say you have to do this now.
Yeah, like I mean,
Just do it or you're fired. I don't know.
I guess they need
If
time
you
to
want.
prepare.
I guess. But it's
Yeah.
like,
Companies that haven't done this before need time to figure out how to do it.
No, of course, yeah.
And like
Yeah.
jumping off of that, like I think I feel very strongly about this specific law. It's just like my mom, she does not speak English at all, and she's been living in this country a little longer than I've been alive, so like
Mhm.
Yeah.
21, 22 years. She was never able to pick up English, and that's been one of the biggest reasons why she could never get a job here. Just because most places, like to my surprise when I first like figured it out, was that a lot of companies don't actually offer, I guess, any help in terms of understanding certain jobs
Mhm.
when you don't speak like English at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of difficult for them to get a job outside of the very few categories where it's easy to find people that speak the same language as you, and it's a bit difficult to find a company that is going to pay you maybe more or pay you significantly better than another job because they're a bigger company or because they're more
Yeah.
popular or have more of a budget in terms of getting employees.
Mhm.
That you try to go to a company like that, and it's very difficult if you don't know the language. And I know, for example, like at my job, I work in retail, and we have a lot of older women who work at our job who just basically fold clothes for us and unpack boxes because that's really all they can do
Mhm.
considering the language barrier. And I asked one of them once how it was like adjusting to that job, considering that they don't know any English or they learned very little from the job. And they said that at least at my company that they were fortunate enough to have people around them who could help them out and let them know what they needed to do, how much they were getting paid, what the hours were going to be without that language barrier.
Mhm.
And I later found out that not every company is like that, and companies aren't even legally obligated to
Mm.
let them know this. And I was very surprised, actually, considering how big of a percentage in this country is people who are bilingual
Right.
or even
yeah.
speak another language and don't speak English at all.
Mhm.
I think that a lot of job positions that are difficult to be filled by English speakers could be filled by people who speak other languages
Mhm.
but are still good at the job. If this was implemented in every single company, we could
Right.
fill a lot of positions and get people to work jobs that maybe other people don't want to work, but there's people that want to and just can't. So
Yeah, no, it's like an accessibility thing, and it's the option should be available to everyone.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you for sharing that, Elizabeth. That was really interesting.
thanks.
Yeah, and like you said, it's really telling how companies aren't obligated. Like it's not the law to provide what Governor Phil Murphy is doing for those types of workers. So we're gonna see in the coming months if maybe those companies will follow suit. If here in New Jersey, maybe they'll start doing it in other nearby states or maybe nationwide.
and how they follow suit,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, we can move on to the next story.
Sure.
Aiden, if you're-
Guys, it's been a while since we were all sitting here. We spoke about gas prices. After gas prices continuously rose to begin the year, they're on the way back down for New Jersey drivers, according to Patch.com. But warming weather in months ahead with spring and summer, it's uncertain how long the trend will last. According to the American Automobile Association, New Jersey's average price for a regular gallon of gas, as of yesterday, cost $3.40. This is about 4 cents lower than the national average. The state average fell 6 cents per gallon in the past week, but remains higher than $3.32 average from a month ago. And again,
Nice.
this is another interesting topic as well regarding people's everyday lives.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how much that has to do with like I don't know, voter turnout and like how people vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gas prices. Because like when you think about like I don't know how much of this country is just road. It's really just road.
To all my commuters out there,
Yeah,
we're struggling.
fellow
Yeah, we really are.
commuter
We're feeling it.
commuter unity. We're all
Yeah.
this is an overwhelmingly this is a majority commuter cast, isn't it?
I was a commuter this first semester here,
Okay,
and
traitor.
what do you mean? No, but
No, you live in Staten.
yeah,
That must
yeah.
have been. Yeah, wow.
I mean, I did spend a lot of money on gas, and I did I kind of thought, well, if I fill it up to the full amount, then that's one free ride to and from campus because I wouldn't have to
Wow.
worry about it wouldn't move for one whole trip. But after that, started to decrease, go down and down, have to refill again.
Mhm.
But in this regard, it's good that it's moving down and getting, I guess, away from the height of what it was at the start of the year and even
Mhm.
before that. But yeah, like it's a lot of effort regarding people who commute, specifically drive here every day or to work every day, especially so don't even get me like with unexpected things on the highway as well, like accidents.
Mhm.
That leaves a bunch of people like just sitting there, depending on if they
Right.
turn the car on or off or not. You know,
No, yeah, there's a lot of variables that go into like, I don't know. This is why I hate cars so much.
yeah.
I just don't like it.
How often does everybody fill up their tank?
I try to do it
Jeez.
not-
Actually,
I'm sorry.
yeah. I
Not-
don't do
I'm
it that often.
I try to do it when it's like half, George, not like when it's like near empty, because that's kind of dancing on a thread.
I haven't driven in a minute, so it doesn't help. But
Honestly-
I always dread going back home. I irrelevant from the cost. I have anxiety,
Mhm.
so like I go to the gas station, I'm like, please no. So I try to go as infrequently as possible. And I will let my tank go a lot lower than people. I would like to tell
Yeah.
people, but so why not say it on air?
I know last year this last year or this I think this was this year. I let it I waited till the light turned on
Oh.
in
I
my
do that every
car.
time. I'm getting my money's worth.
Yeah.
Especially with these guys' prices. I want to get my money's
like-
worth. You know what I mean?
I remember like
And it turns out I'm filling mine, once a week probably. Every
Mm.
week I
Oh
fill it up
really?
once, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Wow.
remember George. I think over the summer of last year, I got to a point where my car was telling me my car had like 28 miles left, or some small amount of miles before it ran out of gas. And I went to a gas station, and it was actually around Newark Airport. They have like gas stations there, and it turned out from that point, from like a small amount of miles left, it was like $70. So it depends. It really depends on when and how much you have in your tank before you actually fill it up, because if you fill it up farther away from when it's empty, it's costs less, and then you get
Yo, that's true because you're putting in
yeah,
less.
to
Gosh.
Emo's demise, you have to go to the gas station more often to but yeah, because like if you that's especially with these economic ups and downs going on.
Yeah. No, I was also kind of wondering about that with the kind of what's going into this price drop. Because of course, I'm sure a lot of listeners remember how high gas prices were
Yeah,
at one point
yeah.
because of like partly what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, because of a lot of factors, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm kind of wondering, is this a part of like the reserves? I know Biden tapped into some things that were some of the like I forget what they call it, like reserves of oil or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
And is that what we're still running on? So is this a sustainable kind of
Mhm.
level of pricing?
Again, Jake, it's really involved. You got to understand power of the dollar in the situation, and as young college students, it might be very difficult for us.
Yeah, no,
But-
it's always tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're gonna try to jump in. Yeah. Do you think we might go to a break for just a second?
Sure.
And then when we come back, we might have something pretty cool.
Mm.
See you in a second.
Got a lot of thoughts inside.
Welcome back to the Morning Buzz. We're gonna throw it to off Ali Arario with an interview.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ali Arario, and you're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Today, I am joined with the renowned 8-time Grammy Award-winning Christian McBride, who has been on campus at Montclair State University's Cali School of Music this week for a series of lectures. Today, I will be talking to Mr. McBride about his experience as a professional double bassist. Well, first off, welcome to Montclair. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Yes,
I'm
of
quite honored.
course. So how has your week been on campus so far? What have you been up to?
It's been wonderful. I feel like I know a lot of. I certainly know the staff of the Cali School of Music very well.
Yeah.
The jazz community is a very tightly knit family. So, between the great Oscar Perez and Tony Mazzocchi, I'm just so happy to be here this week. And the students have been incredible. I know a few of them as well, and it's been a wonderful week.
That's really great to hear. I'm glad to hear all about all that. So for the audience, would you mind briefly telling them a little bit about yourself as well as your experience being a musician, kind of how you got to be a musician in that process?
Yeah, well, I was born in music history, and in my own family are two professional musicians. Both my father and my great uncle are professional bass players as well.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't really have much choice to do anything else.
It was in your blood.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I studied with a bunch of people in Philly, some former Philadelphia Orchestra members, and then somewhere along the way I fell in love with jazz. And after I fell in love with jazz, I had a chance to meet Wynton Marsalis, the great Wynton Marsalis.
Oh, wow.
And meeting Wynton really inspired me to move to New York, because all of my jazz heroes, like the central nervous system of the jazz world is still New York City.
Yeah.
And so, but I knew my mother wasn't just going to let me move to New York City to become a jazz musician. So I went to Juilliard. There were only 3 schools I applied to, and they were all in New York. Juilliard, the Manhattan School of Music, and the New School. I won a scholarship to the Berklee College of Music.
Oh, wow.
Full 4-year ride, but I turned it down.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
my mother looked at me like you just did. Yeah. And she basically said, look, I really hope you know what you're doing. I said, but I don't want to go to Boston. I want to go to New York. So I came to New York, and that's how things
Yeah.
started happening.
Yeah, good for you for following your heart and going where you wanted to go. That's great.
Yeah.
So going into a little bit with your career, I know you joined the band Horizon with saxophonist Bobby Watson when you were 17.
Yep.
So what was that experience like, and were you presented with any obstacles in terms of being so young at the time?
Yes. Well, I met Bobby Watson while I was still in high school. And I was going to Juilliard, and he got word that I was in New York, and he came and found me at school one day, which was no easy task because, Juilliard, you can't just walk in the building.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I never asked him after all these years how he got past security, but I came into the cafeteria during lunch, and he was sitting there reading a paper, and he said, "What are you doing this weekend?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "I got a gig for you." It's like, "What?"
That's
so
awesome.
I played my very first gig in New York City in September of 1989, playing with Bobby Watson. And it was a challenge because probably the week before, I was listening to some recording with Bobby Watson, James Williams, and Victor Lewis saying, man, I sure hope I get to play with them one day. And now I'm on a gig with them. So
Yeah, full
I didn't
circle
have a
moment.
lot of time to kind of really get my feet wet and kind of, feel New York out a little bit. I'm in New York for 2 weeks, and bam, I'm on my first gig. And it wasn't exactly a great gig.
Really?
I mean, revisionist history says, oh, you're working with Bobby Watson at 17. Yeah, but they thought I sucked.
Really? Wow, that's surprising.
That's probably too harsh of a term, but they kind of pulled me aside on the break and said, hey, these are some things we want you to do better.
Gotcha. Okay, so some constructive criticism.
Yeah, it was circa 1989. It was communicated much different then than it would be now.
Yeah, sounds about right. So as a follow-up question to that, did you find your childhood and teenage years to be a little bit quote unquote different or challenging due to the fact that you were so heavily involved in the music in that aspect?
Excuse me. I think being in music actually helped me through my teenage years. I went to a performing arts high school, and that's where all of the quote unquote weird kids went, because it was a great place. I mean, it was probably the closest thing I've ever, even to this very day, high school was the closest thing I'd ever experienced to a utopian world, because you had musicians, actors, painters, dancers, poets, creative writers, and every kid in that school was really good at something. So you were inspired every single day to practice. Not to mention, my best friends in high school were the late great organist Joey DeFrancesco, Questlove and Black Thought from the Roots,
Wow.
all of Boys to Men, and the great guitarist Kurt Rosenwinkel. So
wow.
I mean, when those are your running buddies in high school tends to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds like an incredible experience. Was the school, did you have to audition to get into the school?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah.
I figured that. All right, so now I want to segue into talking about your own band, the Christian McBride Band, which you had from 2000 to 2008.
Yes.
So you guys released 2 albums, Vertical Vision and Live at Tonic. So in terms of that experience, what was it like having your own personal band, as well as is it something that you would like to do again in the future, maybe down the line?
That band was, I missed that band. We had a really, really good time. That band was put together during the beginning of the jam band era. So there were bands like Soul Live, Medeski, Martin and Wood that were getting really hot at that time. And we thought that we could probably give them heck because we were, trained jazz / classical musicians, and, we could get to that next level of musicality.
Yeah.
Roy Hargrove had the RH Factor, Joshua Redman had the Elastic Band. So, 2000, 2001 was a very, very exciting time. I don't exactly know why that band never exactly caught fire. I think there were a couple of reasons. One, because I was also playing with Sting at that time. So I couldn't really focus 100% on growing my own band.
Yeah.
That didn't really happen until the band after the CMB, as we called it, the Christian McBride Band. After the CMB broke up, then I actually focused full time on my career as a leader.
Yeah.
But if I could get those guys back together again, I would. Ron Blake, the saxophone player, he's been playing in the Saturday Night Live band for the last 17 years now.
Wow.
Jeffrey Keyser got married and moved to California. He's back in New York now. And our drummer, Terrion Gully, got married and moved to Atlanta. So life happened. Ron got the gig at NBC. Terrion moved to Atlanta. Jeffrey moved to California. And I was there like, I guess I got to start a new band.
Yeah, so I know you kind of touched up on that, but would there be anything that you would say you would do differently with the band and the experience that you've gained since being in the band at that time?
Well, if I were to put those guys back together again now?
Yeah, I guess maybe some advice that you'd give to your older self.
Oh yeah, well,
with the experience that you have
mean,
now.
I don't know if I would have listened, but I would have concentrated if I were to, you mean if I were to put those guys back together again now?
Yeah, like, or like, I guess maybe some advice that you'd give to your
Oh.
older self.
Oh yeah, well,
with the experience that you have
mean,
now.
I don't know if I would have listened, but I would have concentrated more on, investing in that band, as opposed to kind of waiting to see if my management or my agency would get gigs for us. I would have been more proactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you mentioned talking about Sting, The Roots, all those different bands, and you've also worked with bigger named artists such as Paul McCartney, Celine Dion, many more. So I know this might be a tricky question, but who would you say was
And thank you to Ali for that super, super cool interview. And we're going to jump into non-pre-recorded emo for Tunes on Tuesday segment.
Hello, 'tis I, Emo Live. Talking about Tunes on Tuesday, our weekly new music show curated by the music team here at WMSC. This week's interview is with New Jersey-based artist and MSU student Gary Garcia, who was interviewed by Friday Buzz co-host Nicole Pissarro. Garcia first got into music listening to the Beatles in his household and talks about his start in the music industry and how he appreciates the support from his friends and fans, and that's what pushes him to continue making music. He talks about his inspiration behind his latest single, Lonely Christmas, a song that was a year in the making. He talks about recording the song with his friends in an outdoor studio and the challenges that came with the song-making process. Garcia talks about his dream collaborations, what he would tell his younger self, and talks about his fascination with celebrities and his experience with meeting them. He has into experience with instruments, and that goes to show you that you don't need to be well-versed in everything to still have a music career. Music from Gary Garcia and more on Tunes on Tuesday, which airs at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. this semester. You can listen in for new music and good vibes. And if you've missed last week's episode, no need to worry. All episodes are available on our website, wmscradio.com.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
To focus on celebrities and experiences with them.
He name dropped a little bit too.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the names off the top of my head, but there was a decent amount where I'm just like, whoa, imagine like just casually meeting all these people.
Yeah.
I don't have that yet.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to open that one up. Like, do any of you have experiences meeting I don't know, notable
No.
folks?
I mean, I wanted to, Jake, but it was a couple $1,000 to do so.
Dang, yeah.
Like a VIP experience, so no, I haven't yet.
Wait, who's the person in question? If you
3 days grace.
3 days grace. Okay, yeah.
No, but when I remember, like in high school, like they were definitely one. Like if I had an artist that I really was enjoying, I was like, I would really want to hang out with them someday. I would really want to just talk with them, get to like. But now I'm starting to understand. Yes, this artist can have great relatable work, but they have a life as well.
Yeah.
They I'm sure like they know or have gotten advice from somebody about how to deal with those types of fans who
Yeah.
who a little bit on the more pressuring side, in that they want to like pry into their personal life, which again, it's a very interesting. Yeah, I mean, some artists are really interesting, but they have lives as well. They have private their private selves as well. Like we should respect that. But no, unfortunately, I haven't met any of my favorite celebrities yet.
I haven't met, but I've seen. So it was this past summer. I was at Wildwood on the boardwalk, and one of the pizza places was Gaten Matarazzo, the Stranger Things. He's from Jersey, so
Really?
I forget
we
he's
didn't,
from
like,
Jersey.
obviously I didn't go in and talk to him, obviously, but I did see him.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Cool.
I actually lied. I've met a decent amount of people that are, but are like niche.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, because I have Kyle, a previous
You
TJ
met
Buzz
Kyle
host. I
Pepitone?
met Kyle Pepitone, but he's like,
Yo.
because there's artists that like I've met the Happy Fits because they've come here at the
Mhm,
station,
right.
as have you.
Yeah.
But then I've met like Set It Off and
Mhm.
Youngblood and Pally Royale and
You met
Chris
Youngblood?
Yeah, I met Youngblood. Warped Tour 2018.
Yeah.
And he's a very sweet person. Even like it
Aw.
wasn't the longest interaction, but he was just such a like I can't describe him.
Mhm.
He was just
Yeah.
being around him, being at his concerts too, not even just talking to him personally, just
Mhm.
gives you such a mood
Mhm.
improvement,
Okay.
and he is a genuine person. Like when he
Wow.
talks about how much he loves his fans, that was
Mhm.
very true. And yeah, so I met him there. Warped Tour. I miss Warped Tour so much.
Mhm.
That was a music festival that kind of had all alternative artists
Mhm.
blanket term,
You're right.
the indie, the rock, the emo, whatever. And it was a great opportunity to meet some of your favorite artists.
Mhm.
And so that's where I met some of those. I also met Ash Costello, who's the singer of
What?
New Year's Day, and she also is such a genuinely kind person and really stands for like general empowerment, but also
Yeah.
female empowerment.
Yeah.
And just oh my gosh, like but if you don't know these people, you're like, what? Okay,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? But Warped Tour gave me a decent lineup.
No, yeah. I know Youngblood's a pretty big name.
And I found him. I just as his debut album came out.
Mhm.
It was I think a month afterwards, so he wasn't as widely known.
Yeah.
And it was like the week before. I'm like, this sounds like an interesting person.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I'll listen to the album. Love the album. Like, okay, he's here. I'll meet him. And now I could say that I've met him and he's blown up since.
Wow.
And that's really cool. He's a really cool guy.
I'm sure he
Yeah.
remembers you, Emo.
I hope he does.
Was your hair blue when you met him?
I believe it was blue. Yeah. And I wore the same Fall Out Boy shirt every single year. So hopefully I know also Remington Leith of Palo Royale. Like not to brag, but he wasn't allowed to talk because he was saving his voice, but he liked my earrings and he told me that.
Aw.
And that was a sweet moment. I also have multiple
Sacrificed
people.
his voice for you.
Exactly. I appreciate it. I also met Spencer Charnas of Ice Nine Kills. And I'm getting multiple texts and reminders of that I did. Thank you.
Yeah.
And he's cool. That was a very brief interaction. That was like a photo thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish Warped Tour would come back for that purpose of meeting your artists. Your favorite artist is really cool. To some, it could be bad. It could be
Yeah.
like,
No, I
oh,
have
yeah.
to
what
say,
is this?
like, I have a couple experiences meeting artists I really respected, that I really loved, and I look back on those experiences and I just die inside myself. Because it's just like, I don't know, like I feel like there were some of them I was just like, hey, what's up? And that's fine. Like I met there's a band, I think they're a bit bigger now than when I was really into them. Origami Angel. I was able to meet the lead singer of that band, a dude named Ryland. And that was fun.
Yeah.
But I remember I met there's a band, Prince Daddy and the Hyena.
Mhm.
And I met the lead singer of that band. I was just so embarrassing. It's just the most embarrassing experience I can even imagine. Same with a band called Just Friends.
Mhm.
And I don't know. Phoebe Bridgers wrote a whole album about this, right? Punisher. But yeah.
It do be like that
Well,
sometimes.
Yeah, right.
wait,
I know.
I want to ask Elizabeth, have you ever met any great famous people?
No,
No.
I've been shut in. I've met no celebrities, no singers, but that doesn't mean I don't want to. I
Exactly.
definitely do.
Doesn't mean
Exactly.
that you won't.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that I won't, definitely, for
Yeah.
sure. I think if I had to pick one person or one celebrity that I would want to meet, probably be Gaten.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
We'll put it
Okay.
out into the universe. But while we wait to meet some of our favorite celebrities, I'm going to talk about the top 10 songs in the adult alternative album chart according to iHeartRadio this week. There is a decent amount of moving around, not a lot of songs that stay in the same position. So like I said, I'm going to get right into this. The number 10 song this week is a debut. The song is called Pirate Radio by Gene Dawson. Number 9, another debut, is Pepper from Death Cab for Cutie from their album Asphalt Meadows that came out in the fall. Number 8, up 1 from last week, is Evergreen by Omar Apollo. Number 7, in the same position, is This Is Why by Paramore, same since last week. And the album comes out this week.
Yeah.
I'm looking towards Laura. I think it's
Emo, what comes out the day before?
what comes out the day before. Remind me.
Rebecca Black.
Rebecca Black.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will be a very good week
It's
for music. A very good month as well. Number 6, up 4 from last week, is Sex, Drugs, Etc. by Beach Weather. They recently announced that they are going on tour with Lovely the Band, and I'm very excited. They'll be making a stop at Webster Hall at the end of June this year. Number 5, down 1 from last week, is Tonight by Phoenix. Number 4, up 1, Pages by White Reaper. Their album also came out recently. Number 3, in the same position for the 3rd week in a row, I'm in Love with You by the 1975. Number 2, down 1 from last week, unfortunately for me, is Runaway to Mars by Talk. And before we get into number 1, a quick moment of silence for 2 songs that are no longer on the countdown. Those 2 would be Stick Season by Noah Kahan and Snap by Rosalind, which is crazy because I started this countdown halfway through last semester, and this is the very first time that either of those songs have not been on the countdown. So, moment of silence for Noah and Rosa. And so number 1 this week, up 1 from last week, is Off My Mind by Joe P.
Okay, thank you, Emo.
Go Joe P. You know?
Joe P. Joe P.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
Emo, thank you so much
Of
for
course.
that segment. And do you think we should play Joe P? Do you think Joe P? Tell us a little bit a bit about Joe P.
Joe.
I'm not familiar with this artist. I'm very
I
intrigued.
don't know too much about Joe P, but I do know that this song has been climbing on the charts. I've been seeing him on other similar, mostly adult alternative charts, not so much the rock alternative one that I use for my show, Nine of the Times, that will be on at 9 a.m. after the morning buzz, you know, if you
Is
want to
it?
stick around. But I've been seeing also, of course, his album is called Emily Can't Sing, which I still take personally.
Dang, that's messed up. Joe, why you gotta do our music segment host like that?
Exactly.
There's no reason for that.
Maybe-
Art is supposed to be encouraging.
Exactly. Maybe you thought my legal name was Emoldo.
D-.
And and
Just kidding, I haven't listened to it.
yeah, good for Joe P, and I look forward to listening.
All right, well,
He's
look
got it.
forward no longer. This is Off My Mind by Joe P. take your mind off the morning buzz. This is the second hour going into the chaos hour, where we talk about wacky, wild stories, crazy, quirky, not like the other girls stories. But in case you forgot the super serious news stuff, we're gonna throw it back to Lizbeth one more time for the extended newscast.
Hello, I'm Lizbeth, and this is WMSC News. In top news, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake strikes in Turkey and Syria, killing over 5,000 people and injuring thousands more. The devastating event caused the collapse of hundreds of buildings, and the inclement weather events happening across the countries continue to hinder search efforts. Dozens of other countries are rushing to provide aid for those impacted. In national news, President Biden is expected to take a trip to Poland at the end of February for the anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. However, there's no word from the White House officially confirming the event. In international news, another natural disaster occurring in Peru due to heavy and continuous rainfall. A landslide caused by the extreme weather struck and has left 8 people dead, 5 missing, and several other injured in the town of Secocha. And now for some more weather. It is currently 26 degrees and mostly cloudy. We have less snippy weather today with a high of 43 degrees and a low of 37 degrees with 5 to 10 mile per hour winds. The sun will be occasionally peeking out of the clouds for the early hours of the day and then transitioning to fully cloudy for the remainder of the day. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we will have partly cloudy skies with a high of 53 degrees and a low of 31 degrees. Thursday is expected to be cloudy with some light rain later in the day with a high of 49 degrees and a low of 47 degrees. And for Friday, we will have partial sun in the morning and increasing cloudiness later in the day, but it is expected to be slightly warmer with a high of 58 degrees and a low of 38 degrees. For WMSC News, I'm Lizbeth. Back to you, Jake.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And now here's George Kahesh with the Sportscast.
All right. For NFL, this Sunday, the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles face off in the big game to bring the 2022-2023 NFL season to a close. That game will be happening this Sunday at 6:30 p.m. In NFL news, Cincinnati Bengals legendary wide receiver A.J. Green retired from the NFL after 12 seasons. He finishes his career with 727 receptions, 10,514 yards, and 70 touchdowns. For the NBA, tonight, the Los Angeles Lakers will face off against the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron James is 36 points away from the NBA's all-time scoring mark. All eyes will definitely be on LeBron tonight. NHL, the New Jersey Devils defeated the Vancouver Canucks 5-4 in overtime. The Devils improved to 33-13-4 on the season. This has been George Kelsey with your WMSC Sportscast.
I just turned my mic off to start talking again. Thank you so much, George.
Yeah. George, real quick. Who do you think's winning the big game this Sunday?
Who do I believe is winning the big game on Sunday?
Wow.
I have.
I did not know what was happening.
You don't know. I got Kansas City. I have Kansas
Okay.
City winning.
Kansas City. Who's the other team playing?
The Eagles.
Philadelphia
The
Eagles.
Eagles. Yo.
And then 2 days after that, pitchers and catchers.
Pitchers and
report.
catches report. So we'll be here giving some MLB news very
Sure.
shortly.
So-
but-
So is that a qualitative assertion, or is that like just like what you think? Like,
no, that's just what I think.
okay.
A lot of people think the NFL is scripted. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Oh, really? Like,
yeah,
it's
like a
like
lot of,
WWE.
yeah,
It's
like a
all
lot
just
of people
drama.
think it's just like
Really?
yeah.
Like after a
A
tackle,
lot of
somebody
people are
like gives a monologue.
yeah, this is like what's in the script. You know, the refs.
If it was
do this.
scripted and dramatic like that, I might actually watch it.
Oh,
It's
wow.
not scripted. But
It's not. No. Okay.
no, but I don't know.
That's really interesting.
But somebody was like on Instagram, they leaked the script of the big game.
Really?
And it
Oh my
said
God.
37-34 Eagles, and they were like, if this is true, I'm
Well, we're
not-
gonna find
yeah,
out. We're gonna
but-
find out, George.
Bro,
yeah,
that sounds
it-
like a weird creepypasta. Like leaking the script of like I
An
don't know,
NFL
like a news
game?
event. I guess
Mm.
that is like a conspiracy theorist,
Yeah.
like
It
crisis
shows, like-
actors and stuff like that.
It showed like the score breakdowns from all the
Mhm.
quarters. I don't know.
That's actually a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
Moving on to interesting concepts, we're gonna start talking about the whims and failures of very tragic human beings who have turned their woes to Reddit,
Mhm.
which, if you are blissfully unaware, is a website. So
Sorry, you're aware now.
no, yeah, really,
If you're,
There-
if you-
there is no apologizing. That's enough for knowing about Reddit.
Yeah.
yeah, so this is our segment, Am I in the Wrong? Where we take stories from Reddit and we ask, and we tell them if they're in the wrong. So this first one, am I in the wrong for putting blue hair dye in my shampoo without letting my family know? Emo, I feel like you're an authority on this. Do you think that this person's in the wrong? Just from there.
Well, what they're doing is wrong, but I will get into that.
Oh,
And I promise it's not me. First of all, no matter what they have done, their technique is wrong, and I will get into that.
you're not
Okay,
supposed
okay.
to put blue hair dye in your shampoo?
No,
Okay.
I'll talk about
Surgeon
that.
All right, so let's get into it. That's Emo's prediction that they are in the wrong.
I think that they're in the wrong just based on their technique.
All right. Well, let's hear this side of the story, Emil. See what
Alright.
they have to say.
I think they're not in the wrong. I think they're experimenting, and I think that's cool. Okay, but let's hear it. So I, 21, have blue hair, and I was told by my hairdresser that the color sticks better if you put a little bit of hair dye in your shampoo. This was all good until my 12-year-old sister decided to swipe and use my shampoo. She is blonde, and the result is not pretty. My mom, she spelled the mum with a U. So it's like the British. My mom
My mom.
is mad at me for putting dye in my shampoo and not telling anyone. This is the shampoo that I bought, and I placed it in the shower that I only use, and my sister took it and used it in another shower. She has done this before with other items, and my mom also thinks I did this as a way to teach her not to steal my stuff. In parentheses, I did not do that. So yeah, my whole family is mad. Should I have told them about me putting hair dye in my shampoo? So now, with full context, do we think this person's in the wrong?
Okay, I'm gonna start talking because I need to be cut off at some point.
Right.
My problem that I have with this is, to my knowledge, you're not supposed to put hair dye in shampoo because shampoo is a soap that washes out dye.
Hmm.
Why would
Yeah.
you put dye in the shampoo then? What
Mm.
you should be doing, my friend, is putting it in your conditioner
Mm.
because hair dye itself does condition hair.
Okay.
It conditions it to be blue. And so
That's a condition.
it's a condition and I have it. If you don't know, I very much am 21 and have blue hair. So that's what's confusing me in the first place is I have blue conditioner that I use to keep up with my hair.
Mhm.
If I didn't get the conditioner that is already blue, I would totally put hair dye in my conditioner. Because I have it. And but I losing sometimes I do that like weekly. I will combine the blue conditioner with the regular conditioner. I don't put it back in the container. However, my shampoo and conditioner are mine.
Mhm.
I mean, you already like I got stains on the shower curtain. I'm like, I feel bad, but it's also mine. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I will deal with that. And so unfortunately, my favorite line I'm trying to find is my mom is mad at me for putting dye in my shampoo and not telling anyone. Do they not see that this person's
Yeah.
hair is blue?
Right?
How do you think they keep up with it? So why would that be a bad thing then? It would be a
Yeah.
pretty normal thing for someone with dyed hair to try to keep up with it. And so I don't think that this was someone trying to teach anyone a lesson. I think this
Mhm.
is just someone who cares about their blue hair, and I
Mhm.
respect that. Therefore,
Yeah.
your technique is wrong, but you're not in the wrong.
Right.
Maybe they should have like a little sticker that says this shampoo, this
Well, like-
conditioner is designated
Uh-huh.
for single person's use.
Yeah.
But the thing is like you can't, and like this is like a big thing. Like you can't do that with everything, right? Like when it comes
Yeah.
to your own personal stuff and like what you have going on,
Mhm.
it's like you can't like everyone else is on a need to know basis with that.
Mm.
And like I don't know, to put those little warnings just in case, like do not steal my stuff. I don't know, leopards will eat your
Yeah.
face if you
That's right.
if this
Yeah.
will happen. Like I don't know. It's
Mm.
like you can't do it. You just kind of gotta hope people respect that. And
Mhm.
if they don't, then they're going into uncharted territory where anything can happen, and they gotta
Like blue.
right.
See, I'm the oldest of 4 kids, and I'm like kind of outing my siblings here, but younger siblings have a tendency to think that everything you own is openly available to them.
As a younger sibling, this is true.
Yeah. um it's like been a reoccurring thing throughout my entire life since my younger sister of 2 years was born. It's just been a recurring thing where for some reason they just feel like just because I own something that they can borrow it just because we live in the same home and share other things and like live under the same roof. But I've had moments where I've purchased something with my own money, and most times it's like clothes or beauty products such as makeup or shampoo. For a while, shampoo I'm less like iffy about because I don't personally have special shampoo, I guess. My shampoo is color safe and I have my hair highlighted, so it's like safe for that. But other than that, it's not really special. But I think if I made it very clear to them from like the get-go that I would prefer if they didn't touch my stuff, or I made it clear that certain things I would prefer if they didn't touch, and they still went and did it after I, for example, put blue hair dye in my shampoo, then I guess they had it coming. But I don't have that context here. I'm not sure if this person has made it clear that they don't want anyone touching their stuff. That context is kind of missing here. But I don't believe that they're in the wrong. Although, as Emo said, their technique is...
Yeah.
I don't know where it came from. I don't know. I personally know a lot about hair as well because I have curly hair. And so I did a lot of research on hair in general. Especially after getting my hair bleached for the first time, I was like, I need to maintain this. And again, as Emo said, they're trying to maintain their blue hair. So I think it's kind of common sense to know that if this person bought special shampoo or did something to their shampoo, you probably shouldn't touch it because something bad is bound to happen to your hair. And the fact, I mean, I'm not really sure, but it feels like from the context here that they didn't ask, their younger sister did not ask them if they could use it, and they just went ahead and did it anyways. But I feel like this person is not in the wrong at all in terms of doing this without letting their family know.
I have a new question.
What's up?
If you're taking a shower and you pour the shampoo on your hands,
Right.
do you
I
not
was thinking
see the
this
blue?
too.
I'm blind.
That's
I
true.
feel
I
like-
can see a color.
Yeah, I feel like it would not be hard to notice. Like, this looks pretty blue. I don't know. To be fair, some like soap and stuff. I don't know about shampoo, but I feel like some soap just kind of is blue.
What's
like, I know
that?
especially like body wash.
What's
Yeah,
that blue?
yeah,
The
yeah.
blue dandruff shampoo.
Okay.
What is
Yeah.
that? What is that one called? No. There's
Yeah.
this blue shampoo that my brother uses because he gets dandruff. And
Sorry, we all know now, bro.
yeah, it's blue. The shampoo
Yeah,
itself is
right,
blue.
I could confirm.
But that's
like,
cool to look at. It's cool to see those colors, right?
And then I guess it's misleading then, but I don't know. I also got confused because my container's clear, so I could clearly see
Right,
that.
yeah, I was also thinking
it
like
is-
even like in the container.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
don't know.
Now the sister will know to double check
Yeah.
and not take your older sibling's shampoo because the results are blue.
I don't think the mom should have gotten mad and immediately assumed that
No,
she did it on purpose.
I was gonna say that's
Yeah.
pretty wild, especially because like that expectation of, I don't know, maybe it's just putting a lot on the oldest for like no reason. But
Dyeing hair seems complicated. Good thing I'm never dyeing mine. I'm never dyeing my red hair.
Assume.
I've never dyed my red
Right.
hair ever. I'm never
you're,
gonna.
you're never gonna do it.
Okay.
Of course not.
Is that? I'm interested. Where does this come from? Is it like
Because
pride in
I love this
you
color.
love the
I love
color?
my hair.
Okay. No, that's sick. That's awesome.
No, no.
Self-love.
And it does
Everybody,
work.
everybody in the studio has glorious hair except for me. I'm balding and I'm 21 years
No,
old, which is
George.
not great.
No, George. No.
Thank
That's
you.
not true.
But you have
But,
curls.
I think yeah.
So
I
I
think
really,
it looks
I
weird.
really don't care about my hair that much.
Mm.
No.
So, but
you got nice perm, George. You got nice perm.
thank you, Aiden.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. Curls.
I'll
curls-
dye
Anyway,
Moving on.
as far as like this, and I just saw the vote, but anyway, I don't think this person was in the wrong for
Yeah.
Sure.
So the results from Reddit are in. This person is not in the wrong. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear
Blue hair
that
representation.
you don't have to warn people whenever you make decisions about your shampoo,
Hmm.
hair hygiene.
Moral of the story, they are not in the wrong, but their approach is wrong.
You have room for improvement. It'll be okay.
Sure.
You'll learn.
All right, new potential wrongdoer. Aiden, take it away.
Sure. Okay. Am I in the wrong for making our daughter clean our horse's stalls against her will?
Yes. Oh my God. There's a word for that, homie.
Good. All right.
Oh,
So we recently got 2 horses. My younger daughter, 13, wanted them as she's been learning to ride. My older daughter, 17, was against them, saying she's much more princessy and didn't want to deal with the mess and chores that come with horses. We told her it wouldn't be something that she'd have to deal with, and that her younger sister promised to take care of all of it. Well, recently, the older daughter has been disrespectful at home and staying out too late, and her grades have been slipping. We warned her to shape up, but last week when we heard that she's been needlessly insulting her younger sister while I was out running errands, I told her that she'd be cleaning out the stable each day of the week as a punishment, and that her sister would get a break. She got really upset and offended. She said we promised she'd never have to go in there and clean. I said I promised it wouldn't be one of your chores, but punishment is supposed to be something outside of your normal chores and something you won't like. I thought it was perfectly fair. She's been doing it for 3 days now, but seemed to be very resentful of our broken promise, acting very disgusted and keeps begging to get out of the rest of it. I said I thought it was very fair and that she was overreacting. Am I in the wrong?
I don't know. This is interesting.
This one's kind of complex.
Yeah.
I'm getting mixed feelings about this.
First of all, I feel like the whole thing is complicated just by the fact that like they just bought a horse.
I mean,
They bought
guess
2
I guess
horses.
Two horses.
Yeah, I
Just
guess they
like,
have.
yeah, my daughter wanted one, so
They
I
have
just
the-
bought 2 horses. Like, okay,
I guess they
word.
probably live somewhere out in the country if they live in the United States, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I love how it's like my older daughter was too princessy for a horse.
Princess. if you live in the countryside, that's all you know. How's that different?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I
like your
don't-
way that's the way you live.
I'm too princessy for a horse.
Okay, see, like, okay, 17 is a very difficult age.
Mm,
And again, as an older sister, I experienced it once with my younger sister who's now 18,
mm,
and I'm starting to experience it again with the sister below her
mm.
who is approaching 17. 17 is a very weird phase
Mhm.
Yeah.
where I mean, I'm sure we all went through like some kind of phase at 17,
Sure.
16, 17.
Yeah.
She's at that phase where she wants to, I guess, grow
Mm,
and be an adult a little too soon.
mm.
And I feel like I've heard of a lot of kids at this age who just like act out and they're
Yeah.
super rebellious.
Mhm.
But there comes a point where they just have to grow out of it. And this is where it gets complicated.
Mhm.
Is that I understand why her mom did what she did, but I don't actually necessarily agree with the extremity of it. I think that there was probably better ways to deal with it.
Yeah.
And this might just be me having a personal goal of wanting to be a gentle parent,
Mhm.
as TikTok calls it, a gentle parent.
Mhm.
However, I still think that discipline of some kind is necessary in this situation.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a little excessive. I'm
Mm.
sure there's other options, and I'm guessing that this is the only option that they could think of for some reason, and that's why they went with it. But I think that this is probably going to make her act out a little more,
Mm.
or a lot more, depending.
Yeah.
But I don't think, I feel like she's in the wrong in this situation. In the sense that she could have approached it differently.
Mhm.
this is a little excessive in my opinion.
And then that the almost deal situation would be like the sisters take turns cleaning it, like willfully. You know, they make an agreement of some kind, I guess, but that doesn't seem to be the case here yet for this family.
Yeah, and also just the promise thing. I guess
I mean, to be fair, yeah, they said
she
she
did. She did promise it, but
didn't have to clean it.
I guess they're setting this. They shouldn't have promised that. I feel
Yeah.
like don't make a
Yeah.
promise you can't keep,
Exactly.
because they
exactly.
promised it, and now she's got this thing ingrained in her where
Mm,
someone's gonna make a promise and not keep it,
Yeah.
and that's probably gonna just cause more problems.
yeah.
So I feel like either don't make the promise in the first place or just approach it differently.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of split here. Just because,
Mhm.
like, I don't know. This is why I'm like super not interested in having kids, because like I know you gotta get them to do like the right stuff, but like I'm not interested in like that whole like discipline pose. Like, I don't know, just being that person.
It's a big responsibility.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like,
Exactly.
ugh. Sounds like it sucks. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
as you said before, Elizabeth, there's definitely time in our lives where we go through like really post puberty rebellious front, I guess, right? And it could bring a lot of pressure amongst parents and their kids, but after that, hopefully, like after that's done, hopefully, they see the wrongs of like how they've been treating one another, and they just become a stronger family from this, So
Yeah. Right. I guess it's always gonna be tough to figure out like what's like a sufficient punishment, because like it's still a punishment at
Sure.
the end of the day. Like
mean,
you're not gonna like
yeah.
it, but
could have been like
nah, you can't
dishes or garbage.
yeah,
but
negotiate something more
yeah,
within the realm of comfort.
yeah.
I'm gonna keep my comment short. I do think after hearing what has been said that this person is in the wrong, because it's yucky to promise something and then go back on that promise regardless of how that person is acting, and it does kind of teach you that it's acceptable for someone to promise something and go back on it.
Yeah.
And for that main point, I'm gonna say that this person's in the wrong. That's not to say that the daughter should be, acting the way that she does.
Yeah.
Not justifying that, but overall, yeah, the poster's in the wrong.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it seems like Reddit does indeed agree
Oh,
that
what
this
is it?
person is very in the
Do
wrong.
you agree with Reddit?
Do you agree with Reddit, George?
Yeah, I do.
Honestly,
That's
they're
all I
both in
got.
the wrong.
Everybody else stole the comments I was gonna say. So, yeah.
It
Yeah,
just seems
no.
like it just seems like a bad parenting move, honestly. Because like I guess they didn't think this through, and they said like you don't have to do this ever,
Mhm.
and now you have to do it.
They're probably really mad. Like I feel
Yeah,
like they're like
yeah.
seething at like oh you're having fun. Stop that. And and like they're just like, what can we do that's really like mean, something that you really won't like? And it's in a way it's sort of an escalatory. Is that a word? Escalatory. It's an escalating
Yeah.
kind of move.
Yeah.
They're both in the wrong.
Which isn't really, you wanna de-escalate, you wanna decompress, you wanna be
Mhm.
cool. But yeah, no, we're gonna throw out some music for just like 2 seconds, and then we'll come back with some fun, not like the other girl stories. All right. to the wacky, wild, crazy stories. Yeah. For that, how are you guys doing? How are we feeling?
We're good. I'm
Post, am I in the wrong? There was a lot of wrong today.
yeah.
There's a lot of wrong.
So
Yeah.
Right? It's like
Not that
you know how to wash your hair
Yeah.
and other people don't, you know? That's something you could tell yourself.
so proud.
Yeah.
Mom, I did.
No, it's surprising. And what else was surprising was Dr. Dre wins the Dr. Dre Award at the
Dr. Dre
2023
Award.
Grammys. The 2023 Grammy Awards launch a brand new award titled the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award. And you would not believe who won. I already told you. That's right. Rapper and Beats by Dre creator Dr. Dre won his eponymous award. While the reasons for his recent win were notable, music fans found the irony in giving someone an award named after him. The rapper was recognized for his contributions to hip hop as the genre celebrates its 50th anniversary. That's really interesting that it says that because I'm curious what like the official creation of hip hop date is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's referring to like a specific album release or like anything like that, but
Mm.
I don't know.
I'm pretty
Sounds
sure one of my old friends told me the first rap song ever created was close to 15 minutes long. I'm
Yeah, that
pretty
makes
sure.
sense.
And I see how much it's changed with all these popular artists today. How most of the time it's quick, but it's fulfilling.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
And we have some more info. The award was also made to celebrate those who uplifted Black music. Dr. Dre was described as someone who, quote, defined West Coast hip hop and found his rise to fame story impactful and inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, definitely one of the, kind of staples of the genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so that's a dope story.
Sure. And I think Emo can speak on this really well. It's really interesting when a person from hip hop combines their work with people on the rock and metal side, right, Emo? And that
Yeah.
like they make great work together. That's like it's great.
I would say so. I mean, I guess I've kind of buried myself in my alternative genre as many people do. This is actually taking a left turn, but I don't know if anyone's heard the new Falling in Reverse song. Have you, Aiden?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. So I actually don't even remember the name of it, but I remember that the cover art's really sick.
Mhm.
But it's very rap heavy and not that Falling in Reverse. Do you listen to them at all?
Sure, yeah.
Does anyone else? I don't know if you
I
do.
don't.
It's like I don't even know how to describe the overall genre, but it was more towards like screamy
Mhm.
and like kind of emo kind of stuff, and now it's very heavily in rap, and I don't know if this contributes to the conversation at all, but I'm just kind of like question mark, but I almost wouldn't. I don't know if I'd be listening to it if I didn't know it was Falling in Reverse, just because I'm not super into rap. But
Mhm.
then I'm like, but I still like it.
Yeah.
So then am I into rap?
No.
And, so within himself, it was a Ronnie Radke collab with Ronnie Radke, and bringing down, kind of more of like the metal breakdown
Mhm.
with rap. And so, if
Yeah.
you combine a great genre with a genre that not that is not good, but I'm like unfamiliar with, I'm down.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, and I think that's kind of the interesting thing about like having genres that are very like, kind of have their, unique identity.
Mhm.
But they can also inform like everything else. And I think kind of maintaining both sides of that is really important. And speaking of maintaining, wait, I'll get there. Give me a
Okay.
second. Speaking of maintaining the quality of, I was gonna say service. I guess music is a type of service, but a DoorDash driver. I guess DoorDashing is kind of an art, right? Like you gotta
Sure.
be there on time. You gotta make sure the food doesn't get all messy in the
Mhm.
bag. So
Yep.
you gotta drive carefully. There's a lot of art. Aiden, tell me what person did for their art.
Of course. So, according to yourtango.com, DoorDash driver says he's, quote, thinking about quitting after customer climbs through a window to retrieve her order. We've all had those moments on the job where we've been contemplating quitting, whether be due to poor management, low pay, or even bizarre things we've seen while working that makes us question why we're even there in the first place. In a TikTok video, a driver recorded an unusual experience with the customer during his first day on the job.
Oh,
Oh,
He-
no.
As he sits in his car outside of the customer's home, awaiting the woman to pick up her food delivery from him, he notices a figure emerging from one of the windows on the side of the house. The woman forces her body through the window head first and exits through the open window in a bizarre manner, breaking her fall with her arms outstretched before running toward the man's car to obtain her delivery.
Why did the last two paragraphs read like a horror novel? That actually sounds
figure.
like something like, I don't know,
Hmm.
Mary Shelley would write.
a figure emerging from one of the windows.
Oh man.
Is
so
that's
The woman
scary.
forces her body through the window.
I
No,
think I would quit.
I also have
Ooh.
to say that I totally misread this. I thought like the DoorDash driver was like doing some crazy stuff to get there.
Hmm.
I don't know. The intro was kind of misleading.
Yeah, I thought that for some reason, before
Mhm.
Aiden started reading the rest of it, I for some reason thought that the customer climbed through the window of his car
Yeah, me too.
to retrieve the food, which I don't know which is stranger, but I think this is
I mean,
interesting.
yeah.
But like, I want to know why.
Yeah,
What was the
I don't know.
situation? Like,
I'm
is she
also
okay?
curious.
Like, is there a?
I mean,
I feel like I can't think of anything. I don't understand why this happened.
yeah. I mean,
Just-
sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the fact that it was his first day on the job too.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
man.
that
That's
made it
Oh my
golden.
gosh.
Yeah.
Um,
Welcome to DoorDash.
I was gonna say maybe it's better that the woman didn't climb through his car window.
Well, probably.
Yeah.
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 Make it pretty bad.
Oh man, but oh my, I can't even imagine. Like, this is probably at night too, right? Did they imagine that? Oh my gosh.
gosh.
That's why I'm thinking. That's why I'm
That's-
laughing the
It's
whole.
hard not to
time.
imagine it.
Ugh.
Like,
And I feel bad
Um,
because who knows what this person's situation is.
mhm.
Why do
Yeah.
you have to crawl out of a window? Maybe the other people in the household were like, no,
Right.
you
I know
can't.
some people get really mad about like
Not
like,
gonna-
oh, like you ordered food and didn't get any for us. Like
Depending on the time of
Yeah.
day, maybe it was like really late and this
Mhm.
that
person
too, yeah. didn't
was
wanna
like,
wake
I
anyone.
need to order food right now. Didn't want to unlock the door, so instead they climbed through the window.
Yeah, it's like the moment in SpongeBob where SpongeBob like forces his body through the metal wall, and it's kind of the same sort of gist.
I think that's what happened. To conclude, thinking about quitting, not in the wrong. Oh wait.
We're past that emo. We're past that segment already.
Yeah. Speaking of what people will do
Wrong.
for their speaking of the wrong things that people will do for their eats.
Mhm.
You know, for the food. A Chick-fil-A restaurant's traffic got so bad the city officials ordered it to be demolished and planned to build a new drive-through only location. Didn't want to jump through your DoorDash's car window to get your food? No problem. In one North Carolina city, local officials ordered Chick-fil-A to demo the restaurant and start over. The city's solution to the restaurant's traffic clogging line was to add more drive-through lanes and eliminate the dining room. City planners say that the restaurant's new design prevents cars from backing up onto the main road. The two drive-through lanes wrap the restaurant, according to the proposal approved by the Charlotte City Council last month.
I have a strong opinion
I
about
got
it.
some-
Yo,
I got some-
drop it.
Lay it on us a little bit.
Well, it kind of I feel like in New Jersey it's not this bad.
Mhm.
It's bad, but not this bad. And a couple months ago I went to Texas and my cousins took me to Whataburger
Mm.
and it was like 8 p.m. Apparently 8 to 10 p.m. are their peak hours during the day. And I don't know why everyone wants to be in the drive-thru even though you can walk in and pick up your order.
Mhm.
But there was a line, I'm not joking, down the street to the point where the entire right lane of the road
Like
was
Going-
just like
going to
the
Whataburger.
drive-through.
like Hurricane Sandy gas line.
Like it was so bad. And I remember my jaw was dropped for 5 minutes straight because we were driving and the opposite way and the line kept going. And people
Oh
were
my
literally
gosh.
sitting in line for
Mhm.
food
Oh
in
my
this
gosh.
drive-through. I would have not. And then my cousin was like, "Oh yeah, one time I was getting Whataburger and it's like so good." And I was sitting there in the drive-through for 2 hours, and I sat there for 2 hours to get Whataburger. I'm like,
Is it a Disney park ride? Like I
I don't understand. It's
Oh
literally
my
just a
God.
burger place, and it's
Yeah.
apparently really good. But I tried it. It was like that. It was mid. It's- but I think this is honestly, it's just funny to me that
Texans in chat just seething that you called it.
it
they're saying
was.
mid.
This is just ridiculous.
Mhm.
Why are you just DoorDash?
And also, like, I'm actually generally curious about this. So these guys demolished the building and rebuilt it without a dining area
Mhm.
for more drive-through lanes.
Mhm.
Does anybody find that kind of just a little sad that
I
you
mean-
can't just go in with your buddies and chow down on some chicken nuggets and
I'll-
hang out?
I'll tell you, Jake, that hardly ever happens with me. Whenever, like, with my friends or my family, even, like, when we're in fast food, we don't go in. We just go to the drive-through because it's more
Right.
convenient. There's no really
And
no
where do you
reason.
take it?
What?
Where do you take it?
Home. We don't go
You just eat
inside.
at home?
Yeah, we just take it home. And we don't. The last time I think that I was in a fast food restaurant to have food with my friends was probably I don't even remember. It was like as far either I think it was before the pandemic, like that far back,
Mhm.
right? And so I mean, yeah, I can understand what you're saying, where it's like it is sad because this has been a staple of like American society for a lot of decades. But
Well, in general, I'm just like thinking about like public space, Like I
Yeah.
like the idea of existing in the world, in
Sure.
public and just
Sure.
like being, out there around people, not just with the people but amongst,
Mhm.
all folks.
yeah.
And I don't know. I'm wondering if there's I don't know if anyone else is kind of concerned by what is, we're seeing here a structural turn away from that.
There's a
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A on Route 17 up by where I live.
Mhm.
And let me
Lars
tell you,
Icardi is familiar.
listen, I I know Chick-fil-A is good. I think it's good. Popeye's is
Yeah.
better.
Sure.
But
I don't care.
but there would be traffic on 17 and I'm like, why am I sitting in traffic? Like, and what is this? Is there an accident? Is there something?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's the line for the Chick-fil-A on Route 17.
Mhm.
And there's 2 drive-through lanes on that Chick-fil-A and Route 17. So, I mean,
Wow.
even with 2,
Even with
it
2?
gets a little bit cray.
Yeah. I just want to make a general statement that I think every single restaurant that exists is equally mid. Can't endorse, can't condone. And yeah, speaking of strange devotion to to consumerism, Beyonce fans raising money for tour tickets. Quote, safer than selling my kidney. To be read by Aidan Ivers.
Okay. According to the NewYorkPost.com, after Beyonce's highly anticipated Renaissance World Tour was announced, fans have been buzzing about getting their hands on the sought-after tickets. She's setting out on her first stadium stretch in 5 years. She'll hit parts of Europe and UK first before beginning the US leg at Philadelphia's Lincoln Financial Field on July 12th. She'll be 10 miles from where we're sitting right now at MetLife Stadium on July 29th and 30th. Ticketmaster released a statement this week claiming that in some cities, pre-sale registration for Renaissance tour tickets has exceeded, quote, the number of available tickets by more than 800%. Eager fans are already anticipating a jaw-dropping price tag to see her live, with some taking extreme measures to obtain quick cash. One man has already raised $265 of his $300 goal on GoFundMe, with countless others. Do you guys think concert tickets in the industry have been getting out of hand, getting out of control?
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Nah. I
Let's just bring up
Mhm.
the internet was talking about this for a while about the Taylor Swift
yes,
concert
of course,
tickets
the Ticketmaster
that were
scandals.
apparently $10,000. I don't remember the exact
Yeah,
amount.
I think when you get into people reselling them, I think like from there it just inflates.
Yeah,
Um,
hopefully when I was reading the story just now, probably back to the Taylor Swift situation with Ticketmaster.
mhm.
Remember how it's kind of the same. We haven't heard any stories of Ticketmaster crashing at all, but I mean, people have already they're already making plans to make these reservations, I guess, to get it however much money is possible.
Yeah, right. I really just can't recommend enough to like everyone I know, like find local acts because like the whole like going to stadiums and seeing like I don't know some celebrity, some
Mhm.
like universal name,
Yeah.
like I don't see the appeal. Like that's
I mean,
so
yeah.
much money.
Yes.
I
Sorry, I
no, you
took
go, you go first.
one of my favorite artists of all time, Steven Sanchez.
Mhm.
He's kind of been going a little big, not huge, but
Mhm.
his song went viral on TikTok and now he's getting a little bit more traction. And his concert tickets are a reasonable price, in my opinion. It's like
Right.
he's going on tour
Mhm.
at like in a few months until like the end of this year. And his tickets are like for good seats, it's like $180, which that's like
Not bad.
a
not
good
bad.
it's an investment, but it's
Dude,
not as bad as 400 to apparently $10,000.
But like no, like
But
even that is like so much for a concert for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like
it's
you
still
could
a
get
lot.
like
But
for me, like I don't know, like I saw one of my favorite bands ever, Streetlight Manifesto, and it was like $30.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was that trick?
That was at I somewhere in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I don't
okay,
know.
Okay.
And like I don't know, maybe with like ticket pricing stuff, it might have been like 40 to 50ish range.
Yeah.
But like even that is like and it was like an awesome show.
Mm-hmm.
In a like nice venue.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't know. It's just like
And
it's this weird like obsession with it.
yeah.
And I don't know. I think the fact that people normalize spending that much money, like I don't know. And it's like, what are you getting in return for it? Because I
yeah,
feel like when I've been to
to a
stadium
point,
shows,
I understand
Yeah.
yeah,
because of like fees that they have to pay and all that. I guess I understand, but it also becomes just a bit too excessive.
And also, I'm sorry, were you gonna say something, Emo?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Well, when we think about what people get out of these things, I think when we think about it, these artists are really famous and they have lots of monthly listeners. They're really, really paid attention to in society. And to be in the same space where this popular artist, you're seeing this well sought out artist with your own eyes instead of like on a screen or just imagining it. I think that's what people seek most, because that's just me. When I go to concerts, I'm like, wow, as these loud music is playing, I'm seeing my favorite artist or any artist for that matter with my own eyes. There's no like
yeah,
filter behind that or any screen. But at
Yeah.
the same time, the after effects are if you don't like bring earplugs or whatever, people's ears and
No,
voices
yeah.
go bye-bye for a little
That's
bit.
just a general like
What?
thing with concerts
They
is
lose their-
they can mess up
yeah.
your ears.
Yeah.
Um,
That's yeah.
but like I don't know, maybe this is just like a very personal experience for me. But like as someone who has had the opportunity to go to stadium shows and see bands that like, I have, absolutely just like fawned over. Like I got to see My Chemical Romance, which is a band that
Wow.
like so many people like listen to and I've like listened to like so much and I love their music so much. But
Mhm.
like you see them with your own eyes and your own eyes are just like any other screen.
That's true. Yeah, that's
It's the
true. Yeah,
same
no,
thing.
that's true
It's
too.
the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, no, it's
Um,
society.
I
Just-
will. Here we go.
no. It's okay.
I will say, as a very active concert goer, it is. I don't know if concerts are life changing, and that as just in like not necessarily one defining concert has
Mhm.
changed my life,
Mhm.
but just being someone who goes for out of my way to go see live music,
Yeah.
I feel like my life would not be the same if I
Okay.
didn't have if I wasn't fortunate enough to go to as
Yeah.
many shows as I do.
It's something that
Um,
motivates you, right, Emil?
hmm?
Something that motivates you to like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And so I know Jake mentioned before, like something like this also proves like, hey, go to local shows if you
Mhm.
want. And like even not just like in your hometown, but like just some of the smaller shows. I know tickets are significantly cheaper. But that being said, I saw a show a couple months ago at the Wilmot Theater in Montclair, and tickets were reasonably priced in my opinion. I want to say they were in like the 40-50 range.
Mhm.
And that's fine, but then you get 2 tickets and then you have all these added fees from Ticketmaster,
Mm.
and then it ends up being even more expensive than before. And so if you're looking at $400 $10,000 tickets, I can't imagine what the tax is on that and what Ticketmaster takes out of that.
Yeah.
And of course they still need to take money to operate. I don't really know what goes into that,
Mhm.
but it's certainly getting excessive.
Sure.
And I know that obviously, again, we've mentioned Taylor Swift many times today, that because of that, they've been trying to change their policies
Mhm.
and try to, save face. But I know, my mom and I were looking for Fall Out Boy tickets the other day, and it was frustrating because, they put a cap on the tickets where you could only get 4, but we have a group of like 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah.
And the Ticketmaster also prevented me from getting tickets because I don't know if it's Ticketmaster or the Wi-Fi, whatever, but it wouldn't let me because it thought I was a robot. Because
Dang.
I'm on campus Wi-Fi. I'm like, I am
You're
not a robot.
robot.
But that sounds like something a robot would say. So they weren't
Mm.
this. So that was frustrating. So I think that there's just a Ticketmaster and the artists, whoever make it so expensive, are making it really hard for music appreciating people to go enjoy live music, and that is very frustrating. And so in the meantime, I'd say please don't sell your kidneys to go see any artist.
Yeah.
But if you
No,
have
you
the
need those.
opportunity to go
Or at
see
least one of
someone
them,
for
right?
cheap- yeah, you don't need the other. But but I would definitely say if you'd like, go concerts, but also the local shows.
Yeah.
That's where it's at too.
Don't
Sure.
waste
No.
your money. And speaking of waste, uh, waste clearance firm named Lord of the Bins. Aw, that's a cute name, but too bad it's a legal problem because it's been ordered to change its name by the Lord of the Rings lawyers. That's sad. Could you imagine like having like the whimsical energy to name a business Lord of the Bins and you
Yeah.
get sued for it? That's
Gatekeeping.
so awkward. So yeah, it only has one name. A 2-man waste management company in the UK has been ordered by the Middle Earth Enterprises Lord of the Rings franchise to change its name after they make claims customers could confuse that they were endorsed by or affiliated to Lord of the Rings. In a letter sent to the owners by law firm Simmons and Simmons, acting for Middle Earth Enterprises, they were also told to stop using their slogan "One Ring" to remove it all. And to cease all use of the Lord of the Bins name. Owners Nick Lockwood and Dan Walker hit back, saying, quote, "They claim customers could confuse that was endorsed or affiliated to Lord of the Rings. Anyone in their right mind knows we're completely separate and non-competitive business. Regardless of what we and our customers think, we now have to," and this is the continued quote, "regardless of what we and our customers think, we now have the prospect of spending thousands of pounds," another British in chat,
Oh,
and effort rebranding to appease a multi-billion-pound company.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
They're gatekeeping on such a good pun.
but it's
Right.
also like it's kind of like you took something out of the playbook of Lord of the Rings, and
But
you can't do that in World
I
Copyright.
feel like
though.
they have a point though. Like,
Yeah,
who's going to
I mean,
affiliate Lord of the Rings with that?
yeah,
I was gonna say, if you're gonna name your company Lord of the Bins, I mean, like, what do you think was gonna happen? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
I mean, yeah.
I'm conflicted.
I remember some time ago we covered a story where a flower shop with the similar name to Guns N' Roses, the band named itself like Guns N' Roses and something, I guess, like some Guns N' whatever. And Guns N' Roses said, no, you can't do that because that's kind of stealing our name,
Yeah, you're stealing our vibes.
even though like they have
Stay away from my vibes, man.
yeah, even though they have like a lot of money already, like just copyright, man, copyright.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. I feel like I see this a lot. You know,
Hmm.
like I think about like all the. I don't know. I feel like I see this often where stores are named after puns and like
Yeah,
I guess I don't know. This is something I care about a lot, like the use. I don't care about store names, but like just general, like the idea of creative ownership
sure.
over something. And I think that the right to, pay homage to something and to reference something is really important.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. I could also really see like how if your property is being used to sell stuff specifically, that is something that you can take issue with. So yeah, actually, like, I don't know. It's hard to say when it comes to these big franchise stuff,
yeah,
but if somebody's using your art to sell stuff, I feel like
that's bad.
yeah,
That's bad.
you should be able to say like no,
Yeah,
don't do that.
especially with the franchise like Lord of the Rings. It's so well popular. I know some people, like Elizabeth, haven't seen it. Neither have I.
No, I've never seen
but
it.
I
I
haven't
haven't
seen
seen
it.
it
But like
That's
it is,
good
it is,
movies.
it is such a big
Good books.
Yeah,
You know?
it is such a big franchise. And if you if you name something Lord of the Bins, I mean, like, come on.
Yeah,
Like,
you are using it.
Yeah,
You have a
like,
point.
they are.
I'm sure like if they make a similar name, like their the names are Nick Lockwood and Dan Walker. So Lockwood and Walker something, Lockwood and Walker
Walk that
recycling
trash
or like
away.
management, and then
Lock,
yeah,
lock and walk recycling.
exactly. Like
Recycling.
you just made the business. But it's like if they make that and they're like consistent customers, reliable customers,
Yeah,
then
unless it's like a Sopranos waste management thing. Which
See,
case,
if I was them, I would have at least been like, well, if you want me to change it, then you should like pay for it to be changed, pay for all the effort that I have to put into now
but
changing
yeah,
also-
I
everything.
wonder if they'd be able to do the legal leverage for that. But then, if they did go down that route, they'd have to kind of lower up to like this massive corporation.
They could also get sued, which is a possibility.
yeah, copyright.
Yeah. No, I was gonna bring this up, but yeah, it sounds like another company that's actually not far from us called Darth Vapor. You can guess what they sold. Disappeared very quickly. Right? Because like when you mess with these huge companies and their intellectual property, they're gonna bring the boot down. Which, whether it's right or not, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So on that cheerful note, this brings us to the end of the morning buzz. Thank you so much for listening and for hanging out with us. As always, joined by Aidan Ivers,
Yes, thank you, listeners. For tuning in.
Elizabeth. I'm a bad person. Elizabeth Godoy,
Thank you.
Emo McCormack, and Calahash.
Calicia.
Calicia. I'm a
George
terrible
Clooney.
person.
George Clooney.
Thank you so much. This has been 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Have a good morning.
We're in the midst of catching the Wild Red Hawk rocket.
I'm so sorry. I